the idea of such a high-level game against an opponent that you've already faced, and you played well. Is there an advantage to the team that wins? The team that loses makes no difference?
That's a great question, because you fall into the trap sometimes when you win to not change anything, and now you're more predictable. And so obviously both teams want to get better since we played in March, but strategically, how much do you change? And our men played really well in South Indiana. Bottom line, it all, you can have all these great plans. It's about execution, and we executed really well. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure who has that advantage either way. But I just know that we're playing a team that has only had one close game. They won that in double overtime against Maryland, but Notre Dame has just been beating people up. Before we played them and since we played them, so we know they've earned that #1 ranking.
We were just talking about the fact that was a game, ground ball wise, that was very competitive. Is that something that you're kind of driving into your guys? It's not like they did a bad job on ground balls. I think it's that Notre Dame is.
It's a calling card for Notre Dame, just like it is for us. And typically when we play Notre Dame, it is about 50-50 on the ground balls. Hopefully we can get that edge, starting with the face-off X and Peter LaSala. Our wings have been playing better, and so those extra possessions are huge. But they're a scrappy team. I mean, it starts with the two Kavanaughs on attack. They're great goal scorers and great offense players, but boy, they ride their butts off, and they get a lot of loose balls. And so our close defense, if we get that save, we put the ball on the ground, making a one chance and the ball's going the other way, that's key, especially against a scrappy Notre Dame attack.
And I know I've asked you a bunch of times about the idea of coming out maybe too amped in a big game, and your schedule doesn't really give you many breaks. They're all big games, so I keep asking. But how do you think you guys are going to handle this one?
I haven't had to worry about it. I was a little disappointed Tuesday night up in Easton, Pennsylvania, and I gave my most angry halftime speech of the year. I didn't like our energy. The game was close. The game would have been a lot closer if it hadn't been for Matt Nunes making 7 saves in the first quarter. And so I was happy with the way that we responded in that third quarter and exploded. But for the ACC games, for the bigger games, I've liked our emotional energy being excitable, but then back to neutral. And if there's a bad play, we get back to neutral within 15 seconds. So I've actually been happy with the chemistry.
Looking at kind of the ACC this year, Notre Dame beat Duke, Duke beat y'all beat Notre Dame. It just kind of seems like it's kind of a round robin like that. Just what do you make of kind of where the conference is this year after what many perceive as a down year last year?
Yeah, the conference is back. There's certainly no question about it that we're going to have at least 3 teams in the NCAA tournament. And you never know, a 4th or 5th, if North Carolina or Syracuse can pull off a big win here in the last week of the year. It's here. We're back. That was an anomaly. And what's interesting is I feel like here at Virginia we have just about our best team that we've had in my time here. Yet we've got a couple losses because the competition within the league is so good, and it's the elite teams right now. There's some powerhouses, and we're certainly playing one of them this weekend, this Sunday, with Kevin Corrigan and what he's been able to bring together.
Looking at this offense this year, it's the best offense scoring-wise that you've had since you've been here. What do you make of what Sean has kind of done to kind of manage, the amount of weapons that you guys have?
Yeah, and manage it is the key word. First of all, we'd love to have Sean Kerwin's problems. Too much firepower. Okay, Thomas McCombie comes in, Ricky Miazan comes in. How do you balance all that? How do you still fit in Peter Garno and Jeff Connor and Griffin Schutz coming out of the midfield? Sean's done it really, really well, and the chemistry within the team is very strong. We've had some great teams here who had a lot of success in May, where the chemistry still wasn't great because of playing time issues. This group has done really well, understanding when they've got to sacrifice a bit because someone else's opportunity has come up, and we've been supportive of other people's opportunities. And again, give a lot of credit to Sean, balancing all that. But we are scoring a lot of goals, and I'm just very fortunate. I'm really lucky. I coach great men, and I coach really talented men. And it starts when essentially your best player, Connor Schellenberger, is so unselfish. How do you become selfish when number 1 back there is so unselfish and so worried about others getting their shots? He helps set the tone for us.
How do you think, you've worked with Sean for a while, how do you think he's kind of developed, running an offense in his coaching style?
Yeah, Sean's really, to my mind, is the best offense coordinator in our country. He's been able to balance where you have incredible talent but yet get them to follow a system. That's not easy. You know, if you're a heck of a lacrosse player and you can do a lot of things without following the system and just going on your own, you may be pulled that way. Like, look, coach, I understand, but I'm going to go make some plays over here. But he's able to get these elite ball players to, hey, okay, I noticed the defense is sliding adjacent. I need you to take 3 steps to your right, then cut. He's getting them to buy into that because they understand that what he's telling them is really good information, and it's helping them score more goals and the team be more successful. So he's been able to, you know, for example, if you were to try to take over an all-star team, you know, you only had a couple days, you'd be like, all right, fellas, hey, let's roll the balls out. Let's do a couple motions, some triangles. Good luck, have fun, you know. And you could almost do that when you have the amount of talent we have here, you know, over a semester, over a year. But the guys are willing to listen to him because he's proven himself to be an elite coordinator.
Do you think it goes under the radar sometimes because of the talent that's come through here?
Not in terms of Sean Crowan. Nationally, he's built his reputation because of the 2 years we had at Brown. Were our 2 most successful years there during my time, and then he, you know, it took us a couple years to get it rolling here, but by 2019 it's been rolling offensively. So I think the nation knows that, and they're envious of the talent. You know, it's we're fortunate to have UVA and Charlottesville behind us, and when we're on the recruiting trail, and so we've been able to bring in some really talented ball players. But the nation knows that Sean is just about as good as anybody when it comes to sort of picking apart what the opposing defense is giving you and taking advantage of it and exploiting it.
And we talked to Grayson about this. It was called the season a race to improve.
Yeah.
You're getting into the end of the regular season, getting into May. How would you assess, like, big picture where the team is in terms of bringing it all together?
Yeah, I really do like where we're coming together, especially defensively. We're always a team that starts slower defensively, and a bit of it. The reason is that we're complex. There are some systems that are great, some defenses we play against that are really simple and very good, but they can be a bit predictable. Us, we want to be a bit unpredictable, so we have to have multiple solutions to different formations, and it doesn't look so great in February and March sometimes. So gelling as a defense is happening right now.
And you mentioned Schellenberger with his unselfishness.
Yes.
How do you manage that when you know that he can be such a gifted scorer, maybe nudging him a little more to be aggressive, to shoot, versus, you know, doing what he does so well naturally, just passing?
I know, and he's just naturally altruistic, thinking of others. He's so unselfish. The issue is that how do you game plan against Connor Schellenberger? A lot of defenses will say, okay, stare at your man off ball. Do not let anyone be open. And so he's like, Connor, you have to run by your man and be selfish a couple times a game to get those off-ball defenders to turn their heads. And now Peyton Cormier, Xander Dixon, and the rest of them are moving around with slight little openings. So he has to set up his passing game with his running game. Sounds like a football coach.
And then defensively against Notre Dame, how do you kind of manage focusing on the Kavanaugh brothers and everything they can do together while also taking care of their supporting cast, everyone they have around them?
Exactly. You don't stop the Kavanaughs, you try to neutralize them, but that's the advantage that we have with Cole Castor and Kate Selstad, that those two have shown in the last couple of meetings against Notre Dame that they can be, you know, neutralizing and be all over the Kavanaughs and on their gloves and not giving them too many good looks. That's really huge, because if you have to start sliding to the Kavanaughs, now those other men are even more open. We got enough problems. We got to slide to, you know, with Dobson, McCann, and some of the other midfielders, and then certainly Jake Taylor, number 13 inside, he's a goal-scoring machine. So it is a team effort, but, you know, we ask a lot of Cole and Cade, and the last couple times they've gone up against Kavanaughs, they've been able to step up to that challenge. That'll be key on Sunday. Is can they what can they do against 50 and 51?
Do you think you've locked up a home game?
Yes, we've absolutely locked up a home game. And I normally wouldn't be that bold, but I'm on this committee that analyzes the selection criteria, and there's no question we'll be one of the top 8 seeds. So we will be a home game that May 14th weekend. We'll figure out Saturday or Sunday at some point. The key now is, you know, if we can get a win over Notre Dame, we can make the NCAA selection committee's job really hard. You know, because we would have the 2 wins over Notre Dame, Duke would have 2 wins over us, and Notre Dame has the win over Duke. Now what do you do with that? You know, how do you rank those top 3? So that's our job, is to make their job hard.
And I want to ask you, Grayson, not that we are doctors, but maybe they didn't expect him back as quickly as he got back.
Right.
What was that recovery like?
Amazing. Like, blew away our training staff, blew away our doctors. Once in a while you hear, oh, ACL, you can come back in like 8 months. Yeah, that's the 1 out of 100. That's Grayson. He's that guy. And he blew away the leap tests. It's amazing to think they had surgery in early June, and he hasn't missed a scrimmage or a game starting in January. I mean, it's remarkable.
He said that because some guys come in and say, oh, I was